What's going on, Jerome's? Minnesota Vikings head coach Kevin O'Connell fed the local media jackals on Wednesday ahead of the hot Atlanta Falcons and Kirk Cousins returning to U.S. Bank Stadium. Said some stuff and some things, so let's dive on in. First up, Falcons, respected them. They're a talented team, and the Vikings definitely need that home field advantage. Talked about how the crowd really got into things at the end of the Arizona game. I was that choke and almost pass out, and it was huge for the Vikings result there at the end. Also, prayers up for Randy Moss. Moss took the airwaves Sunday, said that he's dealing with something, and O'Connell gave the best wishes and support from himself as well as the team. Randy Moss, one of the all-time great Vikings. Plus, O'Connell, personal connection as well. He was teammates with Moss for a spell in New England. Talked about his time with Moss, Belichick, Brady, all that stuff. Plus, also from O'Connell's past, so Raheem Morris, who is head coach of the Falcons, talked about their crossover with the Los Angeles Rams, won a Super Bowl together. O'Connell was OC, Raheem Morris was DC, and talked about how Raheem brings consistency, energy, enthusiasm, juice every single day. Plus, O'Connell, learned a lot. Morris being a former head coach, but, working well with his guys on defense, working well with McVay, and just all those interpersonal communication and connections. It's really important. Also, Kirk Cousins, come back in. Tremendous respect, impactful player. Talked about how he has had the pleasure to work with Kurt twice in Washington as well as 2 years with the Vikings. Talked about building a offense together. Kurt taking ownership of it, as well as with Cousins, even though he threw 4 picks against the Chargers, he could still easily put together a plus performance. I mean, just remember that the Falcons beat the Eagles. And Kirk Cousins had a game-winning drive, just like cold-blooded assassin. It was really early in the season, but, and also need all 11 to execute against Kurt, because otherwise he will hurt you. Plus, even though the crowd will be on the other side, just the familiarity with U.S. Bank Stadium certainly will help him as well. Also, the Vikings will expect Will Reichard as well as Andrew DePaola back on Sunday, barring any setbacks. But he did shout out long snapper Jake McQuaid, who was just waived, as well as John Parker Romo, who likely will be waived if and when Reichard returns. Now, Romo, respect. He's definitely proven that he is one of the best kickers in the NFL and deserves one of the 32 jobs, and I think that he certainly will have an opportunity to do that. Also, Stephon Gilmore dealing with a minor hamstring injury. No work today. Chance later on in the week. O'Connell is pretty positive that they avoided a serious longer-term injury, but with the season winding down, they have to be smart and go from there. Also, the goal all year, constantly chasing improvement, going 1-0, all those cliches. I think he was asked about how does being 10-2 change anything, but he's just like, nah. Also, down the stretch, tough schedule, as you do have all NFC teams down the stretch. Also, all teams that are in the mix, Bears aside. So it's going to be tough, and there's no gimmies the rest of the way. Hell, there's no gimmies at any point in the schedule. People don't realize that. For corners, Dwight Nudie-McLaughlin. So he's a young DB making a play a day. Talked about how McLaughlin was consistent in training camp as well as rookie camp, OTAs, all that stuff. He does have true cover ability, but it has been a numbers game with the veterans ahead of him. And O'Connell said this, quote, Dwight's opportunities are coming. It could be this week. We know if he gets his ops, he will be ready. And so with Flores alluding to, and O'Connell basically just saying it, McLaughlin I think is going to be active. I think that he'll have a chance to play on Sunday. Also, Jonathan Grenard, JG, talked about how off the field, consistently himself, authentic. Flores has talked about how Grenard is one of the funniest players on the team, alongside Hottie Ward. But Grenard's energy, positivity, workmanlike approach is really contagious as well. Also, called him the closer. He is a bit like Mariano Rivera, because if you need a big play late, and especially he's done that over the last 2 games, he delivers it, man. Blake Cashman outside, how about that? Big props to him. Athleticism, ability to play in space, skills and instincts in zone. Plus, O'Connell brought this up, and it's interesting. You don't really think about this, but Cashman is really good at reading the eyes as well as the body language of the quarterback. Now, they always talk about a quarterback, looking off a safety or a linebacker, but Cashman, what makes him really good in coverage is that he's able to parse out what's legit, what's BS, what's this, that, and the other thing. So it's really important. And also, I will stand by my assessment if the Vikings have Blake Cashman healthy for the Lions and the Rams game, the Vikings win both of those, because guess where the Lions and the Rams attacked? Middle of the field. Guess where Kirk Cousins can still make some hay despite the weakened arm? The middle of the field. So it's going to be Cashman Day on Sunday. Plus with Darnold, speaking of opposite of weak arm, so Darnold can make throws other quarterbacks simply cannot make. And you talked about the process of the Falcons, or not the Falcons, the Cardinals game, where they were sort of probing, parsing out, finding weaknesses in the Cardinals' approach on defense. Then eventually found the dead spots, receivers sitting down, Darnold feathering throws over the top like that one to Addison over that linebacker, which was glorious. And it has been fun to watch the chemistry of Sam and all these various weapons, because if you think about it, I mean, this gets into like him talking about December football. Game is physical, 12 games played so far, and this team is completely different than week one. All right, you're getting used to your teammates, you're getting used to the communication, you're getting used to having chemistry together. Week one, you don't have that, and a lot of teams are trying to figure themselves out. And I think the Vikings, they're playing good right now. A lot of time on task stacked up, play style, elite communication. If all 11 know what to do, good things will happen, and that's exactly what the Vikings have done as of late, where they pulled together some really tough wins, and I do think that things are settling. I think that this offense is going to be good to go defensively. Obviously, they've been the top pressure team in the league, so I think that they certainly do have a chance to be really special down the stretch. I think this team is just simply getting better with age, much like me. Anyways, your thoughts are thoughts. Kevin O'Connell, Wednesday presser, feeding the local media jackals. Let us know your thoughts, our thoughts, his thoughts. Comment section. You guys know what to do. Skull, as I burp. Production value.